There's a lot of great gear out there. Trying to find something to buy that's going to be a good use for every day isn't always the easiest with all the choices that you have in front of you. But for me, one of the most useful tools that I could absolutely carry at all times is a quality flashlight. The days of the good old mag light are no longer, at least for most people. And if you are carrying one of these still, personally, I think you're crazy. So buck up, spend a little bit of money, and get yourself a modern flashlight. For the past 18 months, I've been carrying the ThruNite TN12 2014 edition. And I'll tell you, this little flashlight has made my life so much better. For my day job, I work in an industrial facility. We have a lot of tunnels and some really dark areas, so lighting is of the utmost importance to me. And with that, I need to see long distances, I need to see wide areas, and I need to see close-up detail. So to have a flashlight with multiple modes is absolutely critical. What I really love about this, first is you have a tail cap switch, and it's a pressure switch with a momentary on, so if you do a half push, you do get, a beam, or you can click it all the way on, and that will stay on continuously. The other part about this light that I like the most is that the mode selection is on the side. Now it's worked out very well for me to be able to carry my light and to switch through my modes quickly and easily, because when I'm in the industrial application, I'm carrying this light in my hand continuously. It does not leave my hand. And so I need to be able to switch through modes pretty rapidly in order to see the different features that I'm trying to inspect or look at. So for me, when I need to look close up, all I need to do is click it a couple times, get down to one of the lower modes, and I can look close up without completely blinding myself. Or if I need to look off into the distance or to, at some sort of a wider area, I just click the button a few times and voila, there we go, bright light. So anyway, that feature has been excellent. And so there are 5 modes. There's a Firefly mode, which is 0.3 lumens, which to me, to be completely honest with you, is too low. That doesn't really provide me with any use whatsoever. The 0.3 lumens is just really, really dim. I think maybe something more like 5 lumens would have been a little bit better for my application, but I understand why they programmed it the way they did. The low mode is 20 lumens, and I do use that quite a bit. I use that for general walking so that I can see illuminated areas towards the ground. It doesn't give a huge amount of throw, but for walking and seeing where I'm walking, that is actually a perfect amount of light. The medium is what I use predominantly. That's for any of my mid-range viewing, general illumination, and details on, items that are maybe as far as 30 feet away. And that seems to work pretty good for that. And then the high mode is 800 lumens. I use that very regularly, and then turbo is 1050. Now on this model, on the 2014 edition, I find that the difference between the 800 lumens and the 1050 is not that great. I'd like to have a little more separation maybe, and turbo mode does do 2 things. It heats up the flashlight considerably and also drains the battery significantly faster than the other modes. So I find that although I do run turbo quite a bit, I probably could just run the high mode, which is the 800 lumen output, and that would be perfectly fine for my uses. This flashlight does have a strobe mode. You access it when the flashlight is on by long pressing the side switch. So again, it does have a strobe mode that you access using the side switch and long pressing until it activates. Now I don't use that. I don't have any tactical purposes for this flashlight. I have never been attacked by an intruder, and I think that's the only place I can consider using it. Now, I have harassed my wife a little bit. You know, when she's getting on my case, I'll give her a couple blasts, or I'll strobe her just to be a punk. But, you know, other than that, I don't really have too much use for the strobe. Now, the size of this flashlight is absolutely ideal. It rings in right around the 5.5-inch mark. Just about the same exact length as a mini mag light, if you're familiar with that or have carried a mini mag in the past. And the head of the flashlight is just about the same diameter. Now, the rest of the body does increase in size over the mini mag just a bit. It's thicker in girth, and that does not really matter. The amount of function that you gain in a flashlight with this level of sophistication over one of these dinosaur mini mags just outweighs any of the size differences by a long shot. Now, I'll admit, even though this flashlight does have a very nice clip, and it is a reversible clip, I do not use it. I do not use that clip at all. I don't know if I ever have, and I don't know if I ever will. I just stick this flashlight in my pocket between my, you know, typical pants pockets, or I wear cargo pants a lot. It fits real nice in my cargo pants. And so I will just throw this flashlight right in the pant pocket, one or the other, or, you know, in my cargo pockets, and go about my business. And it doesn't bother me. It's never flopping around. I don't seem to have any problems with it. It's always where I need it. So I realistically just don't use the clip. So I can't really comment on how it's held up. I mean, again, you know, I've used this flashlight for just about 18 months. And I've carried it every single day for that period of time. Depending on where you buy this flashlight, it may or may not come with batteries. Mine did not. So I purchased these Olight 3.6 volt, 3400 milliamp hour, 18650 rechargeable lithium ion batteries. These have been great. I have had no problem. I bought 3 of them at the time. They're about 20 bucks a piece. And you know, I've used them interchangeably for the past 18 months, and I haven't had any of them die. They've all seemed to hold their power really well. I haven't had any issues whatsoever, and I am definitely going to advocate for the purchase of these batteries with this flashlight. They work excellent. The flashlight does come apart into multiple pieces. You have the head, you have the tail cap, and then you have the central body. One way you can flip the clip, if you want, is to undo the head and the tail and literally swap over the body. You can thread either the head or the tail cap onto either side, which allows you to basically rotate your clip. Now, the body does come with O-rings that are assembled over the threads at the connection points. The kit that I got came with extra O-rings. I have never needed them. I haven't had any problems with these whatsoever. I have gotten the flashlight damp. I have dropped it in puddles. I have dropped it on the ground. My kids have played with it. I have not had any problems whatsoever, especially not to the point where I needed to replace the O-rings. Now, one of the problems that I have had is for a period of time my flashlight wouldn't turn on. It wouldn't turn on for a couple of weeks, and I couldn't figure it out. Now, I finally called ThruNite to see if they had any suggestions for me. And they did identify that the inner piece of the tail cap may have possibly gotten loose. Now, what happens is when you thread and unthread the tail cap, the inner piece could potentially rotate based on the friction between the spring and the battery. And so I found that mine did loosen up. I had to take a pair of needle nose pliers and open them up, spread them wide, get them into those little dimples that you see, and turn that inner piece until it's seated properly again. That has loosened up on me twice now, and I fixed it both times. Both times it fixed the light and it worked again. So if you are experiencing a problem where your light doesn't turn on, it is quite possible that this is the cause of the problem. The inside of the head looks somewhat similar, yet it doesn't have any dimples. I have not had any problems with this loosening up on me, and I don't think I will. It looks like it's machined slightly different in a slightly different design than the tail cap, So I'm not really too concerned with it, and I guess if it happens to me, I will cross that bridge when I get there, but for now, this has not been any issue. So I will reiterate, I've said it a couple of times, but I will reiterate the fact that I have carried this every single day for about 18 months. Every single day. So when you look at the overall condition and quality of this flashlight, I mean, are there a couple of little dings here and there? Yeah, for sure. Is there a little bit of missing paint here and there? Yeah, for sure. But the fact is, this thing has treated me extremely well. It's functioned almost flawlessly, short of the tail cap issue, and that was something that I was able to overcome quite easily, and it worked just fine after I fixed it. Nothing has been a problem. None of the buttons have torn. Actually, you can see the side button is just slightly worn out now. I mean, you see just a little bit of a smoothing out of the dimples in the middle, but it hasn't ripped, it hasn't torn, no problems there. The tail cap is just about perfect. Still plenty of raised dimples. Even the tail stand, I mean, yeah, a little bit of missing paint, but nothing crazy. The clip, I told you, I honestly haven't really used it, so I can't comment too much on that. But all in all, condition of the flashlight's great. The batteries have been great. My charger is fine. I love this flashlight. So to wrap it up, this is the ThruNite TN12 2014 edition. There's newer editions out there. They've made some improvements and changes between the functionality, between the Lumen output, and the way you charge it. So this doesn't have USB charging. Big deal. I mean, it doesn't really affect you too much, especially if you have a couple of batteries. And I think that would be the biggest disadvantage to this is if you use it quite regularly, you might need more than one battery. But even for me, when I use this every single day, I find I don't even change the batteries once a week. And I use this continuously. So the battery life has been excellent. The quality has been excellent. The light that it emits is quality. Short of maybe changing the lower Firefly mode to slightly higher output. I've used every mode. Every mode's been used successfully and with an intended purpose. And again, this light has been great. I would recommend it to anybody. And if you're looking for a flashlight, check out the current ThruNite model for the TN12. I think you'll find that you're very happy.